Hello, my name is Jamie Lenhart, and welcome back to Set Your Table for Advent on A Table for One. I hope you were able to join us this week online as we installed our new pastor, Brandon Babcock. It was a great service, and it is going into a new chapter in the life of our church. And in that service, Brandon, in the small section that he spoke, he tied in Advent into the season for him and for our church, and specifically this week of Advent, talking about faith. And that faith is the faithfulness of God in providing for his children, but also the faith in the coming of the Christ, the coming of Jesus in the Advent season, but also looking forward to the second coming of Christ. So this week, as we spend time in Advent, and Advent in our space, in our homes, we're looking at faith. And so this week, where we're going to start a wonderful friend of mine, and somebody that I think most all of you know. Rachel Lanning is going to share a song with us. She's going to sing for us. And it's a wonderful song of "O Come All Ye Faithful." So the words are going to be up there if you want to sing along in your home. But otherwise, let's enjoy just the blessing of Rachel as she sings "O Come All Ye Faithful." I want to thank Rachel Lanning for doing what she just did for us. So I was actually prepping that song for multiple days, and something was not sounding right. It just wasn't working, and I kind of got the idea of what if I ask Rachel? And she wonderfully and thankfully said yes. She said yes, and she's only had a couple days to get ready for this. And so she got together with me, she sang it, we did a few takes, and she did a beautiful job. And Rachel, thank you so much, and I'm sure you're thankful for her doing it too. And I've led worship for years now at the church and elsewhere, and done music. And as a more modern worship leader, I can say that Christmas music for a lot of us is difficult when we're doing worship. Because not just that it's technically difficult, because Christmas songs like carols are very technically difficult. There's like a different chord you're playing every note, and so you're trying to simplify it and make it intriguing and appealing, but at the same time not so difficult that your brain's melting. But Rachel took that song and made it worshipful. And one thing I love about "O Come All Ye Faithful" is I do find it a very worshipful Christmas carol, where some may lean towards just being sing-along song time. But that message of come, you who are faithful, you who believe, come and worship the Christ, adore him, dote on him. Let your mind dwell on him, worship him. That message is such a wonderful message for this time of year. And that as we come and are faithful, he is also faithful to show up. And it's just such a wonderful thing, and I'm glad you got to share it with us. Now, each week we're kind of doing a different, either like last week where we did a craft, where I hate saying the word craft, but yeah, craft. We built Advent candle setups. This week, it's more activity focused, and it's get out of your house. So each year, something happens special to this time of year that doesn't happen any other time, and that is Christmas lights. We don't decorate our houses like we do in Christmas any other time of the year. So what I want to encourage you to do, especially if you have kids, with your kids, it could be just you and your spouse, it could be you and a friend, but make an intentional time of going out and just experiencing other people joyfully celebrating the season by setting up their lights. And when I say intentional, often we can just kind of like, oh, well, we looked at them as we drove to the store or somewhere else. But what if we take it to that next level and we plan for it? Because, sometimes if you have small kids like me, it's really hard because, you have dinner, you're trying to get them ready for bed, like everything's kind of fast-paced in the evening. What if you combine it? What if you say, we're going to let you eat in the car this time? Because if you're like me, you don't like them eating in the car because your car becomes absolutely disgusting. But maybe you throw some towels down on their seats or in the back seat. And when they ask you what you're doing, you'll be like, well, what we're going to do is get in the car, buckle up, we're going to go pick up some food, eat in the car while we drive around and just find all the fun lights we can. Or, if that doesn't work for you, maybe it's make a hot beverage, put it in a thermal mug or an appropriate cup, pile in that car and go and drive through the lights, or maybe even go to a neighborhood and walk the lights with that warm beverage. And when I say warm beverage, I mean that's anything. It could be tea, it could be coffee, or some traditional things, something like hot cider, which that can be the package, or it's very easy to make hot spice cider. Hot spice cider, like one of my favorite recipes to do just quickly in the evening is some cider, and you warm it up, nice and piping hot. Throw in a cinnamon stick and a slice of lemon, and maybe even a splash of cranberry juice. And it's just wonderful. It's warm, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's great. Or something that I don't know any children will pass up, hot chocolate. Again, you can grab your Swiss Miss, your Nestle, whatever works for you. Even if you have a milk allergy, you can go with nut milk, anything like that. Or you can even try to make it at your home. There are so many recipes online to make hot chocolate, and it's actually very, very simple. You heat the chocolate, or you heat the milk, nice and warm again. Not too hot, you don't want to scald it. Add some chocolate, mix that up, whisk it up so it's nice and smooth. Pour it into a mug. Gotta throw some whipped cream on there, because let's be honest, what is hot chocolate without whipped cream? Or maybe marshmallows, maybe some sprinkles. Or like me, I like to do a little dusting of cinnamon on there. And then just enjoy the hot, sweet chocolatiness that is hot chocolate, and enjoy the company of those you love as you go and look at the different things people have decorated. It's a fun experience. It's a memory that you can share and just keep with you. And the beauty of it is when we do it intentionally, it's that much more precious in the end. So that is my challenge to you, is to do that. And actually, let's add a second layer to that. If you go out and you can find homes with faith, hope, joy, peace, or love written out in lights, take a picture of it. Or even better, get out of your car, take a selfie with you and your family or your friends, whoever you're with. Send it in to us. We want to put it up. We want to show that to everybody else. Say, look, here's somebody who did what we were talking about. They spent an intentional time together in an evening. So there's your activity for this week. I think it will be a fun one. Now, our last thing for this evening. Prior to this week, prior to Advent, we had Thanksgiving. And so the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we had our traditional communion and pie night. And in that night, I got to videotape some people. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to talk to them a little bit because of Advent. And you see, if you've been part of Springfield Faith Center for very long, you know that Advent hasn't necessarily always been that big of a thing for our church. It just hasn't been in our tradition. And that's okay, but that doesn't mean everybody in our church didn't grow up with that tradition. If you came from different denominations or different backgrounds, that maybe was a big thing to you. Even Ruth Kuehl said.
Well, I was part of the Lutheran Church for many years, and so Advent was a big thing. There was 4 Sundays, and we used to have a candle when the kids were small, and every day we lit one candle, and it was in a circle. And it was always fun. We'd always sing, and it was a really important part of Advent.
So as they came out from their time of communion, I kind of shanghaied them and said, hey, can you answer a question for me? And they willingly and wonderfully said, sure. And the question that they answered is, what does faith mean to you as we enter this time of Advent? Take a look here.
Faith to me during Advent means believing in things we haven't yet seen. And so during this COVID season, that to me also means seeing the end of this disease and looking forward to what the Lord has in store for us this new year.
Faith anytime is living without fear and having, I think, if I think of the Advent, I think of the expectation of the Lord coming. And that at this time, and just the way the government in the world is, it's really exciting to think of Him coming and not having fear of what's going on around me.
It reminded me of that thing where when we are most weak, God is most strong. And at this time, we're all really weak right now. And I think it's going to help God do some really good things.
Faith for us during the Advent season means that God is going to take care of us no matter what pandemic, no matter what COVID, that God's going to take care of us.
No matter how tiny our faith is.
Amen.
Faith always takes me back to, I think it's Hebrews 11:1, about faith being that which is hoped for and certainty of things that are unseen. And we're in a season right now of a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that we can't see and we don't understand. And it gives me peace knowing that God is in control of it all.
Remembering that Jesus is coming again and that I want to be ready. And it's an anticipation, an expectation that I will see God in the world.
The idea of waiting came to me too. Like, it's a season of patience and waiting. At the same time, I feel like it's super important to actually be active about our faith and to practice it so that we don't become too comfortable. And so in the Advent season, to really be intentional about how we're practicing our faith, how we're communicating with other people, so that it doesn't just become like a background thing. It's still up in the forefront, and that we are ready, and that it is an act of faith that we participate in.
Everyone, thank you for spending time this evening with us on A Table for One as we are experiencing Advent together. Now, don't forget, we have our normal things every week. We have communion on Sunday nights. We have youth group on Wednesday nights, home groups online on Wednesday nights. We obviously have these videos coming out. We also are beginning the process of really trying to have in-person services. So be paying attention, watch your emails, watch your spam filters on your email as new information is constantly coming out, because we want you to be involved as we reopen the church to in-person meeting times. Otherwise, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless, and find a way to bless those around you in this season. Have a wonderful week.